400 kilograms is often the total weight of these machines, making a classic truck appear no larger than a common go-kart. Why would an engineer invest thousands of hours into building a vehicle that could easily fit inside a standard apartment garage? At first glance, such a project seems like a mere curiosity or a visual exaggeration, but in reality, these are fully functional machines designed with professional-grade engines, complex gear systems, and complete mechanical drive assemblies. Every component is scaled down with extreme technical precision to maintain the character of their full-sized counterparts. But this is just the beginning. Handcrafted by independent builders, these vehicles challenge traditional engineering norms by packing industrial utility into miniature frames. It is visible how the metal lays in an even layer across the custom chassis, which must support the stress of a working drivetrain despite the reduced dimensions. This process is only gaining momentum as more enthusiasts turn toward high-precision micro-manufacturing. Size does not define the mechanical power of these American-style trucks, as they are capable of performing actual labor despite their deceptive appearance. The equipment gradually reveals its complexity through custom machined parts and specialized suspension setups that mimic heavy-duty trucks. The process is only gaining momentum. One can notice how the miniature pistons move within the cylinders, proving that these are not static models or toys. The camera glides along the polished surfaces of the bodies, where every rivet and weld follows the exact specifications of original industrial designs. Everything only gets more complicated when considering the cooling and electrical systems integrated into such a confined space. One specific model stands out as the most agile and compact example of this engineering discipline. It operates with a level of capability that contradicts its physical scale, navigating tight environments where a standard vehicle would be immobilized. The metal reaches its final form through this meticulous downsizing, resulting in a machine that functions with the same logic as a long-haul freighter. Thus, the engineering cycle concludes this phase, opening the road to a new understanding of scale and power. 5/8 is the exact scale of the miniature Peterbilt that captures the entire aesthetic essence of a classic American highway rig. Why would an enthusiast choose to recreate a massive semi-truck at a significantly reduced size? It only looks obvious to assume these are mere toys, but in reality, they are fully functional engineering projects designed to fit comfortably inside a standard domestic garage. This unique manufacturing venture originated from the vision of Bob Suffren, an Australian creator residing in the United States, who transformed the concept of the standard pickup truck into a compact heavy-duty icon. The project development cycle began in the year 1999. 4 years of intensive design followed before the first complete kits were made available for global distribution in the year 2003. One can notice how the entire customization process takes place within a specialized facility located in Nashville, Tennessee. An all-female mechanical team handles the assembly and fabrication, representing a distinctive and rare operational structure within the heavy-duty automotive sector. The process is only gaining momentum as the crew strips down base vehicles to their core components. Most of these 5/8 scale rigs utilize the Chevrolet Silverado as a foundational chassis. The original pickup body is removed entirely to make room for a custom exterior inspired by full-size long-haul trucks. Underneath the hood, the power plants typically consist of 8-cylinder engines with displacements ranging from 5 to 6 liters. These motors generate between 300 and 400 horsepower, providing a power-to-weight ratio that ensures a bold presence on the road. It is visible how the original automatic transmission from the donor pickup is retained to manage the output. Everything only gets more complicated when replicating the mechanical feel of a genuine semi. The drivetrain remains a rear-wheel drive configuration, which intentionally mimics the handling characteristics of a standard heavy-duty tractor unit. Visually, the machines are identical to their larger counterparts, featuring the iconic long hood, vertical exhaust stacks, and polished chrome fuel tanks. The camera glides along the exterior where every rivet and trim piece reinforces the Peterbilt visual identity. 2 adults can sit comfortably inside the cabin despite the scaled-down dimensions of the vehicle. The engine sound remains aggressive, and the interior volume is prioritized to ensure the truck remains a practical machine for exhibitions and parades. It seems simple to dismiss these as novelty items, but in reality, They are meticulously crafted passion pieces with a global reach. Units have been exported to Canada, Japan, and Australia, establishing a worldwide network of owners who prioritize this specific custom style. The capability of these machines extends beyond simple visual displays. One can notice how some of these mini-rigs are equipped to tow small trailers, demonstrating that the structural integrity and functional utility of the base chassis remain intact. The equipment gradually transitions from a showpiece to a working miniature that balances style with mechanical performance. From here, the transformation moves to the next phase of the collection. 100% custom built from the ground up, this miniature vehicle redefines the expected proportions of the trucking world. Why would anyone scale a massive semi-truck down to the size of a go-kart? The answer lies in the engineering precision of Dennis from Go-Kart Alley, who transformed a functional chassis into a shrunk-down legend. This custom Mini Kenworth serves as much more than a stationary showpiece because the mechanical systems are fully operational. The heart of the machine consists of a 10-horsepower Tecumseh engine that provides simple and reliable mechanical power. One can notice how the compact engine block fits neatly beneath the custom bodywork, but this is just the beginning. This specific power plant is traditionally found in heavy-duty lawnmowers or high-performance go-karts, ensuring that maintenance remains straightforward. It only looks obvious that a truck should be heavy, but in reality, this build prioritizes a lightweight and nimble frame. The chassis features rear-wheel drive and an exceptionally short wheelbase, which allows the steering to remain sharp and responsive during operation. The transmission system is kept basic, utilizing exactly one forward gear and one reverse gear for uncomplicated movement. It gets more complex further on. One can notice how the tall front grille and classic round headlights mirror the iconic Kenworth silhouette with jewelry-like precision. Twin vertical exhaust stacks rise from the sides, and a detailed paint job covers the panels in a manner usually reserved for full-size highway haulers. The camera glides along the closed cab, where the physical presence of the machine becomes undeniable. How small is this vehicle compared to the standard 5.8 scale models seen at most exhibitions? While those models are large, this custom build is approximately half the size of a real truck, or even less. Despite the reduction in volume, it retains every essential component, including a working air horn and chrome wheels. At first glance, it appears to be a toy, but the weight of the metal and the roar of the engine prove otherwise. The process is only gaining momentum as the truck appears at trade shows and community events. One can notice the reaction of the crowd as bystanders pull out their phones to document the machine in motion. Every detail, down to the mounting of the official Kenworth badge, reinforces the soul of a full-size machine within a pocket-sized frame. The creator has successfully merged the world of custom kart building with the aesthetic of the open road. The Tecumseh engine delivers enough power to move the entire assembly with ease, producing a mechanical growl that mimics a larger machine when the throttle is engaged. Every component was calculated to turn heads while maintaining the ability to drive through tight maneuvering spaces. And this is not the limit. The next stage of engineering takes the concept of detail to an even more extreme level through a construction method that few would ever dare to attempt. Thus, the pocket-sized trucker's dream concludes its demonstration, leaving the path open for even more complex mechanical recreations. 100% of the bold identity found in a classic American Mack truck is preserved within this specialized miniature build. Why would a craftsman spend hundreds of hours recreating an industrial icon at less than half its original scale? At first glance, the project appears to be a mere novelty, but in reality, it is a fully functional engineering feat designed to operate with the same mechanical logic as its full-scale counterpart. This vehicle, known as the Miniac, sits upon a handcrafted custom chassis that prioritizes a lightweight power-to-weight ratio while maintaining an aggressive stance. The process is only gaining momentum. One can notice how the round headlights and wide fenders replicate the geometry of the original heavy-duty hauler with millimeter precision. The camera glides along the polished surfaces of the classic chrome grille, where the brand logo is positioned exactly front and center. Because the body is composed of a strategic mix of metal and fiberglass, the reinforced suspension must provide constant stability during movement. Every side mirror and bracket is placed according to the proportions of the massive highway legend, ensuring the soul of the machine remains intact despite the reduction in physical volume. It seems simple to power such a small frame, but the mechanical configuration is remarkably efficient. 10 to 15 horsepower is the output generated by the stationary engine mounted deep within the compact engine bay. This power plant drives the rear wheels through a direct drive transmission system equipped with both forward and reverse gears for navigating tight exhibition spaces. It is visible how the short wheelbase allows for a tight turning radius during maneuvers at festivals or hobbyist events. Functional steering components and a responsive braking system ensure the operator has total control over the rig at all times. The equipment gradually reveals more technical depth as the inspection continues. One can notice the side exhaust pipes that serve as a functional exit for engine gases while adding to the aesthetic profile of the truck. A functioning horn and integrated lighting systems elevate the build from a static model to a working vehicle that behaves much like a full-size beast on the pavement. Inside the cabin, the proportions are calculated to allow a full-grown adult to sit comfortably behind the wheel. The experience mirrors the physics of a high-end go-kart, though the mechanical feedback is purely that of a truck. Everything only gets more complicated when examining the origin of the components. Almost every single piece of this machine was manufactured from scratch, rather than being salvaged from donor vehicles or old scrap bodies. Engineers custom molded the body panels and handcrafted the structural supports specifically to meet the requirements of this unique scale. This means every light housing and mounting bracket had to be designed through a process of custom garage engineering to allow for both form and mechanical function. Collectors and mechanics at truck shows often stop to observe the precision of these handmade elements. But this is just the beginning. The popularity of these custom-built miniatures continues to grow at specialized car meets and themed industrial events. Each panel and mechanical link represents a commitment to technical accuracy that captures the attention of observers of all ages. This level of customization pushes the boundaries of what is possible within a private workshop, transforming raw materials into a recognizable icon of the road. The transition to the next level of complexity is already visible in the refined finish of the exterior. The Miniac stands as a finished testament to the intersection of creative design and mechanical discipline. From here, the transformation moves to the next phase of processing. 150 cubic centimeters is the displacement of the motorcycle engine powering this handcrafted machine. Why choose a small displacement engine for a vehicle inspired by a heavy-duty legend? A larger power plant would exceed the weight limits of the chassis, while this specific setup provides the necessary efficiency and reliability for exhibitions and recreational driving. The engine delivers its torque through a direct transmission system, ensuring the power reaches the rear wheels without unnecessary mechanical loss. The legend of the Scania 113H is rooted in the 1980s and 90s. At first glance, this appears to be a standard truck, but in reality, it is a meticulously scaled-down tribute that preserves every structural element of the original Brazilian icon. It gets more complex further on. One can notice how the signature square hood and the double headlights are positioned with millimeter precision to mirror the commercial version. The signature grille, side mirrors, and turn signals are not decorative additions, but functional components placed in their exact technical locations. This fidelity extends to the exhaust placement and the specific application of decals across the paintwork. The chassis consists of a reinforced frame designed to manage the weight of both the custom body and the attached load. One can notice how the adjustable leaf spring suspension allows the operator to tune the stiffness based on the terrain or the weight of the trailer. It is visible how 13-inch wheels, typically sourced from compact automobiles, provide the necessary ground clearance and stability for the miniature rig. Everything only gets more complicated when examining the towing apparatus. The truck features a wooden trailer equipped with a functional quick-release system. This mechanism allows for the mechanical coupling and detachment of the trailer, replicating the exact operational flow of a full-sized commercial transport setup. The camera glides along the trailer bed, revealing the structural reinforcements that prevent bowing under stress. Why is the interior designed with such spaciousness? It seems simple to build a small shell, but the cabin is engineered to allow an adult to sit comfortably while maintaining access to the controls. The steering wheel is fully linked to the front axle, and the dashboard is a handmade assembly that mirrors the ergonomic layout of the original heavy-duty cab. the sound of the engine produces a deep growl that adds a layer of acoustic authority to the vehicle as it maneuvers. It only looks obvious to call this a replica, but the engineering required to balance a short wheelbase rear-wheel drive system involves precise weight distribution. The process is only gaining momentum as the truck demonstrates its ability to navigate tight spaces with smooth, controlled transitions. Dust slowly settles behind the wheels as the miniature rig comes to a halt. This operational machine serves as a physical bridge between garage engineering and the long-standing tradition of global logistics. The transformation of raw metal and wood into a functional tribute concludes this phase of the assembly. From here, the focus shifts to another unique build that follows a different set of design principles. The mechanical journey continues into the next stage of specialized vehicle construction. 2,850 hours of labor are required to transform a concept into the mechanical art represented by the Mini Kenworth with its accompanying tank trailer. Why would an individual dedicate over a full year of near-daily work to a single scaled-down vehicle? It seems simple to build a miniature, but in reality, this project demanded an investment of approximately $85,000 to achieve a level of craftsmanship that few builders would ever dare to attempt. This machine functions as a completely operational replica of a heavy-duty Kenworth tanker truck, designed with meticulous precision down to the smallest individual bolt. But this is just the beginning. The construction process relied entirely on handcrafted components. One can notice how every part was fabricated from scratch, as the builder avoided the use of any pre-made commercial kits. The camera glides along the polished surfaces, revealing a finish so professional that the rig is frequently mistaken for a full-sized commercial vehicle when viewed from a distance. Everything only gets more complicated when considering the internal mechanics. A hand-built Cummins engine serves as the heart of this miniature beast. The power unit is paired with a 5-speed transmission that was custom designed to integrate seamlessly with the bespoke chassis. This mechanical setup produces smooth, progressive torque, which allows the truck to maintain authority and stability even when the heavy tank trailer is coupled to the rear. The process is only gaining momentum. The drivetrain utilizes a rear-wheel drive configuration supported by a reinforced suspension system. This suspension was engineered specifically to manage the significant weight of the metal tank, which features the same industrial finishes found on long-haul highway tankers. It is visible how the dual exhaust system, chrome fenders, and the intricate front grille recreate the aesthetic of a real rig. Even the access steps and tail lights were manufactured with extreme attention to detail to ensure technical accuracy. Visual impact is achieved through flawless paintwork and chrome accents that reflect light with high intensity. Inside the cab, the engineering accommodates a functional steering wheel, custom-made seats, and an adapted dashboard. These features allow an adult to operate the vehicle with total control over its movements. The equipment gradually demonstrates its capabilities during operation as the truck cruises at low speeds with consistent safety and style. It gets more complex further on. Specialty vehicle events frequently host this truck, where it attracts the focus of engineers who understand the technical complexity of the build. Some mechanics utilize the vehicle as a primary showcase of their fabrication and assembly skills. They prove that high-level paintwork and structural techniques remain applicable regardless of the physical scale of the project. The truck moves through the exhibition space, proving that high-level fabrication applies to any dimension. The metal reflects the surroundings as the vehicle comes to a steady halt. This miniature rig concludes its demonstration, leaving a lasting impression of mechanical precision. Thus ends one of the most detailed examples of automotive customization in the world of scaled machinery. 2/3 of the original size is the precise scale chosen by an industry legend to recreate a piece of American transportation history. Why would a former chief executive officer spend his retirement meticulously building a functional miniature of his own company's flagship? It only looks obvious to call this a replica, but in reality, this vehicle represents a personal tribute from Ken self to the Freightliner brand he helped lead for decades. This specific 2/3 scale mini Freightliner cabover captures the essence of the 1960s white Freightliner with technical accuracy that few hobbyists could ever hope to achieve. The project is only gaining momentum. One can notice how the aluminum bodywork reflects the light with the same luster as the full-sized highway haulers of the mid-20th century. The cab-over engine layout is preserved without a hood, featuring a tall and squared silhouette that defined the ergonomics of a specific era. The split windshield and integrated headlights are scaled down with millisecond precision to ensure the proportions remain indistinguishable from the original trucks that once dominated the interstate system. This level of detail is not merely cosmetic. At the heart of the machine sits a Cummins diesel engine, a power plant synonymous with heavy-duty hauling for over half a century. The camera glides along the engine bay where one can see how the cooling and fuel systems were carefully adapted to fit the reduced dimensions of the frame. It produces enough torque to move the chassis smoothly, allowing the truck to operate under its own power with the same mechanical confidence as its larger counterparts. But this is just the beginning. The transmission is fully functional, engaging gears with the distinct mechanical click familiar to any professional driver. Beneath the cab, the suspension system was specifically adjusted to account for the unique weight distribution and lower center of gravity of the 2/3 scale model. This modification provides necessary stability and comfort during low-speed maneuvers. The steering system responds with enough precision to navigate the narrow aisles of exhibition halls and tight museum spaces. It seems simple to build a small truck, but in reality, every mechanical linkage had to be re-engineered to maintain the correct geometry. Inside the cabin, the finish is a perfect mirror of the 1960s original. One can notice the large diameter steering wheel and the narrow, period-accurate seats situated behind a panoramic windshield. The flat dashboard panels house functional gauges that monitor the scaled-down systems in real time. Everything only gets more complicated when considering that this entire structure was hand-built by a man who once oversaw the production of thousands of full-size trucks. Today, this mechanical masterpiece is housed at the Pacific Northwest Truck Museum, located in Brooks, Oregon. It serves as one of the most iconic exhibits in the collection, representing a physical link between a corporate legacy and a personal passion. It is not every day that a retired executive personally fabricates a working replica of the vehicle that defined his professional career. The process does not end at this stage. Despite its status as a museum piece, the Mini Freightliner remains completely operational. It is visible how the truck maneuvers through historical events and classic gatherings, moving under its own diesel power. Hearing the rhythmic idle of the Cummins engine at this scale serves as a technical reminder of the engineering that built the modern logistics industry. The project effectively bridges the gap between the golden age of trucking and the present day. The vehicle completes its demonstration run and returns to its display position, preserving the legacy of the road in a compact form. 3/4 of the original scale. That is the exact proportion that defines this functional miniature Kenworth show truck. Why would a builder choose to replicate such a massive icon at a reduced size? At first glance, the project might seem like a simple mechanical curiosity, but in reality, it is a professional-grade display piece that matches the finish of a full-scale exhibition rig. This build serves as a physical statement of technical passion, where every component is executed with a level of precision that rivals standard automotive manufacturing. It only looks obvious that a smaller vehicle would be easier to assemble. The extended sleeper cab and the aggressive lines of the long hood maintain the exact silhouette that made the brand a pillar of industrial design. One can notice how the chrome front grille reflects light with the same intensity as a truck on a Las Vegas show floor, while the wide fenders and classic round headlights preserve the machine's historical identity. Every element, including the fuel tanks and the vertical exhaust stacks, was custom fabricated rather than sourced from generic parts. But this is just the beginning. The equipment gradually reveals its internal complexity under the refined bodywork. A compact diesel engine sits mounted within the frame, generating sufficient torque to propel the heavy metal body with steady, controlled momentum. It is visible how the machine moves smoothly, aided by a rear-wheel drive configuration and a transmission specifically adapted for low-speed exhibition environments. The deep rhythmic vibration of the diesel cycle provides an auditory layer of realism that complements the visual scale. The process is only gaining momentum. Why is the chassis design considered the most critical engineering feat of the project? Many replicas focus solely on the exterior shell, but without a reinforced leaf spring suspension and a proportionally engineered frame, the weight of the metal body would compromise the vehicle's stability and visual balance. Therefore, the chassis serves as a structural foundation that allows for real-world functionality rather than just static display. One can notice the interior details through the cab windows. The steering wheel remains fully operational, and the dashboard is equipped with a suite of simulated gauges that mirror a full-sized cockpit. There is sufficient volume within the enclosed cab for an adult operator to sit and drive the vehicle comfortably. The finish of the interior surfaces reaches a professional standard rarely observed in custom builds of this scale. It gets more complex further on. This miniature rig does not remain stationary during public events. It operates as one of the most frequently documented attractions at truck shows across the United States. Spectators often observe the machine in motion, noting its ability to accelerate, steer, and brake with the same mechanical logic as its larger counterparts. The camera glides along the polished surfaces as the truck maneuvers through the exhibition grounds. Everything only gets more complicated. The build transcends the definition of a mere replica by capturing the technical soul of American trucking culture. It functions as a rolling tribute, constructed by an individual with a deep understanding of heavy-duty road transport. This stage of the exhibition concludes, leaving the mechanical integrity of the build to speak for itself. The transformation of raw metal into a functional icon is now complete. 1994 is the year of the legendary Peterbilt 379 that served as the blueprint for the Weipat. Why would anyone attempt to shrink an iconic highway giant into a functional miniature? At first glance, the reduced scale might suggest a simple toy or a stationary model. But without the integration of a specialized diesel powertrain, this machine would never have achieved its status as a competitive phenomenon. The answer lies in the engineering goal to replicate the strength and presence of the original family truck while outperforming vehicles many times its physical size. The construction of the Weipat is far more than a basic scaling project. It is a meticulous technical recreation. One can notice how the hand-formed body panels align with jewelry-like precision to match the contours of the full-sized original. The exterior surfaces are finished in a vibrant, bright red paint, accented by crisp white details and a mirror-like chrome finish that reflects an obsessive level of industrial craftsmanship. Dual headlights and twin vertical exhaust stacks rise from the chassis, mimicking every visual cue of the highway legend. But this is just the beginning. The equipment gradually reveals its true purpose beneath the polished exterior. A compact diesel engine, specifically adapted for this unique chassis, sits at the heart of the build. It does not end at this stage. The drivetrain is engineered for rapid throttle response and high torque delivery, capable of far more than simple cruising. Everything only gets more complicated when the truck moves from the display floor to the competition track. 351 feet is the staggering distance recorded by this miniature during a full pull at a sled pulling competition in southwest Missouri. This result is an incredible achievement even for standard-scale vehicles. It proves the build delivers real-world results measured under grueling conditions. The chassis was purpose-built with a reinforced internal structure and a balanced suspension system designed to handle the extreme stress of a heavy load. It only looks obvious to call it a replica, but in reality the wheels are optimized for maximum traction on the dirt track. The process is only gaining momentum. A direct transmission sends power to the rear wheels to ensure the maximum possible pull. Precise weight distribution is calculated to keep the truck planted firmly as the resistance of the sled increases. One can notice how the machine remains stable under load, a consequence of engineering every element for mechanical brutality rather than mere aesthetics. Transition to the next level. Inside the cabin, the hand-built dashboard and functional steering wheel continue the commitment to technical realism. The seating position is carefully arranged to mirror the exact proportions of the source truck. Lighting systems are fully operational, including headlights, taillights, and a complete signaling array. The camera glides along the polished surfaces of the interior, where every switch and gauge fulfills its mechanical role. The Weipat has become a regular presence at shows and meets, where it draws attention for the contrast between its classic looks and unexpected power. It represents a perfect blend of visual authenticity and high-performance engineering. From here, the transformation of raw materials into a functional masterpiece reaches its peak. The machine stands as a testament to the intersection of scaled design and competitive capability. Thus ends one of the key stages of exploring custom industrial builds. 100% of these machines exist not as mass-produced commodities, but as singular mechanical works of engineering art born from individual ingenuity. Why did builders spend thousands of hours recreating heavy-duty haulers at a fraction of their original size? A simple replica would only mimic the shape, but these projects were constructed with a deep-seated respect for American trucking culture and the power these silhouettes command. Every detail on the downsized frames reflects a commitment to preserving the presence and historical significance of the open road. The process is only gaining momentum. One can notice how the craftsmanship manifests in functional diesel-powered replicas capable of executing real pulling maneuvers. It only looks obvious to call these vehicles toys, but in reality, the pickup-based builds and custom chassis are massive in their technical concept. The camera glides along the polished chrome and custom-fabricated fenders that were shaped by hand rather than on an assembly line. This level of impact proves that physical dimensions do not set a boundary for mechanical greatness. Enthusiasts turn their personal passion into functional machines that operate with the same logic as their full-sized counterparts. It gets more complex further on. These vehicles serve as living symbols of creative freedom, standing as physical manifestations of the technical skill required to scale down complex hydraulic and drivetrain systems. One can notice the steady vibration of the miniature diesel engines as they idle, mimicking the rhythmic sound of a heavy-duty semi-truck. The equipment gradually demonstrates its utility through functional towing hitches and working air brake systems. Nothing about these projects was easy or automated, as they were built the hard way to ensure every component remained authentic to the trucking spirit. Everything only gets more complicated when considering the sheer variety of rare and unique automotive projects that continue to emerge from private garages. The metal lays in an even layer of high-quality paint, reflecting the light just like the heavy haulers found on the interstate. From this stage, the narrative of miniature engineering moves toward a broader appreciation for rare and fascinating machinery. Each unique project adds a new chapter to the history of custom fabrication. Thus, the exploration of these specialized mini-trucks reaches its conclusion for this phase of the journey. The material remains a testament to the dedication of builders who prioritize precision over scale. The journey of these unique machines continues as they are shared with those who value power and curiosity in automotive design. This concludes one of the key stages of exploring the most powerful and unique automotive projects currently in existence.